She asked where the peanut butter was. That's all it took. No fight, no betrayal, no dramatic scene with slammed doors or broken glass. Just an ordinary Wednesday morning. Her hair was damp from the shower, her eyes glued to her phone as if I wasn't even there. That's when it hit me. I wasn't. To her, I was nothing more than the man who stocked the pantry, the one who replaced the toilet rolls, the one who folded her clothes exactly how she preferred them. She insisted towels had a right and wrong way to be folded. You'd imagine the breaking point would be explosive, cheating, yelling, maybe even violence. But for me, it came down to a jar of peanut butter. I handed it to her, and she didn't even bother to look up, let alone thank me. I stood there with the spoon still in my hand, and something inside me finally whispered, "Stop begging to matter." That night, while she slept with her back to me, as always, I sat at the kitchen table with a pen and paper. I didn't write a word. Because why? She wouldn't care if there was a note. So I left nothing. Just silence. No slammed door. No bitter scribble stuck to the fridge. Only my house key on the table, resting beside the untouched jar of almond butter she'd bought, for variety, and never opened. It's been 63 days. She's called 27 times, sent 51 texts, and even emailed me twice. That one made me laugh, because she never checks her inbox unless there's a sale. The last message read, "I didn't realize you were this petty. Come home. We need to talk." Now she wants to talk. Now that the sink doesn't empty itself. Now that her Spotify playlists don't refresh on Monday mornings. Now that there's no one nodding along while she vents about her coworkers. But I'm not going back. What she doesn't realize is that this silence, the one choking her now, is only the beginning. I thought she'd move on fast. Some soulful yoga guy. A therapist with the perfect smile. Maybe even Everett, the scarf-wearing spiritual guide she swore was just a friend. I pictured someone else filling my side of the bed within weeks, reorganizing the spice rack I once alphabetized out of sheer desperation. But that didn't happen. Instead, she unraveled. At first, she tried to fake it. Brunch photos plastered online, her grin stretched too wide. Captions about reclaiming joy and healing is messy but beautiful. I know that smile. It's the one she put on for her mother, the one that begged, "Believe this version of me, because I don't." I didn't respond to any of it. Not the calls, not the messages, not even the PayPal request she sent demanding half the cost of the French press I'd taken. I just watched from afar, not out of revenge, but curiosity. I wanted to see how long it would take before her mask slipped. It didn't take long. One night, walking home from a 24-hour laundromat with my hood up and headphones in, I passed the grocery store we used to frequent. Without thinking, I drifted inside. And there she was, standing frozen in the condiment aisle. No makeup. No polished hair. Just an elastic band pulling it back in the same careless way she used to do when raiding my drawer. She looked lost. Like she'd forgotten why she came in. Her body there, her spirit somewhere else, screaming into a pillow. I hid behind a newspaper rack. Not because I was afraid, but because I wanted the unfiltered truth. Not the version she performs when someone's watching. And what I saw was emptiness. A woman who looked like she was waiting for someone to explain why her laughter now echoed against the walls. I turned and walked away. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel invisible. I felt alive. No one knows where I went after I left. Not even my sister, Mabel. She's 3 states away and tends to spill things she shouldn't, even when it's out of love. I only told her I needed space, that I was fine, and that if anyone asked, she hadn't heard from me in weeks. She respected it. Until Marina turned up at her door. I learned about it 2 nights ago when Mabel called, her voice shaking like she was hiding someone dangerous. "She's here, Ellery. She just showed up. She's been crying for hours. She's barefoot, sitting on my porch swing, and I think she drove straight through." I didn't answer. I couldn't. "She found an old Christmas card you sent me," Mabel whispered. "Got my address from the return label." "I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking." I could hear Marina's voice faintly in the background, pleading with Mabel. Just let me talk to him. Please. I need to explain. Explain what? That I was useful until I turned invisible? That her sudden wave of self-awareness only arrived once my toothbrush stopped fogging up the bathroom mirror? I told Mabel not to give her anything. Not even the state I was living in. She needs closure, Mabel said gently. Maybe you do too. But I didn't want closure. I wanted peace. I wanted silence that didn't feel like a countdown to the next sarcastic jab. I wanted to sleep without bracing myself at the sound of keys in the lock, wondering if it was groceries coming in, or another excuse. And yet, something in me cracked hearing she had driven through the night, barefoot, crying, begging. But no. Too late. You don't get to trample someone for years and then weep when the doormat walks away. She stayed on my sister's porch for 2 nights. Mabel never let her in. She gave her a blanket, made tea, and pointed her to the sofa swing. On the second morning, Marina slid a note into the screen door. Mabel sent me a picture. It said, "You didn't even give me a chance to be sorry." But she had plenty of chances. Silence was the only language left. I told myself I wouldn't look. I blocked her number, muted her everywhere, promised I was finished. But healing doesn't march in a straight line. Some days you feel like a survivor. Other days you feel like nothing more than a wound that walks. That night, weakness won. I made a burner account, typed in her name, and there it was, a new live stream, only a few hours old. Her face filled the thumbnail, eyes swollen, makeup untouched. 6 minutes long. I watched all of it. At first, it was the same act she always put on when her world slipped from her grasp. The trembling voice, the helpless sighs, the darting eyes. But then something shifted. She wasn't addressing her followers. She wasn't speaking to me either. She was speaking into a mirror. Her exact words, "I think I broke something I didn't realize was keeping me alive." She stopped, breathed, then continued. "You don't notice you've stopped looking someone in the eye until they're gone. You don't realize how heavy silence is until it belongs to you." I sat rigid, not sure if I felt vindicated or nauseous. Then, he was soft. Too soft. I mistook it for weakness. But now I understand. Gentle people disappear differently. They don't slam doors or scream. They erase themselves. And I let him. She should have stopped there. But she didn't. She reached off camera and held up a photo. Blurry on my screen, but I knew the frame. The one I'd left behind on the bookshelf. The only picture of us that ever felt real, the ferry ride in Charleston, her face buried in my hoodie midlaff. "If you see this," she said, "I don't deserve you back. I just hope you exist somewhere warm, somewhere happy. I hope you didn't disappear completely." And for a moment, I hated her less. But I couldn't forgive. Crying in private is easy. Confessing after the wreckage is easier still. But I lived inside the silence she gave me for years. She was only beginning to taste it. Weeks later, I opened my mailbox for the first time in ages. Usually, I didn't bother. Bills and junk don't matter when no one has your new address. It was a run-down studio with peeling walls and a radiator that coughed like it wanted out of its misery. But it was mine, and I owed no one entry. Inside was a small cardboard box. No return address. No name. Just my initials scrawled in black marker. My chest tightened. Inside, 3 things. A photograph. A brittle sprig of lavender. And a flash drive. The photo was old, our 2nd anniversary, snapped by a stranger at a train station where we'd been lost but laughing. The edges were worn, like it had been handled too often. The lavender, I recognized instantly. From the bush in our old backyard. I planted it for her because it reminded her of childhood summers. She hated bugs, yet would sit there for hours breathing it in. She must have gone back, cut a piece, and saved it. The flash drive sat heavy in my hand. I didn't want to plug it in. I didn't want to give her another stage for her sorrow. But curiosity is cruel when you've been invisible too long. It wasn't a video. Just a voice recording. At first, only background hum. Then her voice, unpolished, broken. "I'm not asking you to come back," she whispered. "I just need you to know the silence you left hurts more than anything you could have shouted. And I deserve it. I do. I treated your patience like furniture, always there, never noticed. I thought no drama meant no problems. I was wrong." A long pause, then, "I hear you now. And I miss the way you never made me feel small." That was it. No background music. No dramatic ending. Just static and silence. I didn't cry. Not then. But I didn't delete it either. I sat there with the lavender in one hand, the flash drive in the other, and wondered how long regret can keep someone alive before it consumes them. And whether mine had finally let me go. I never planned on crossing paths with anyone from that old life again. That version of me, the agreeable ghost, the quiet husband, belonged to another city, another pulse. But life has a cruel way of timing things. Closure doesn't arrive neatly wrapped. Sometimes it ambushes you while you're pouring stale gas station coffee at 11:30 at night. I recognized the voice before the face. Ellery. It was Cambria. Marina's closest friend. The same woman who once called me loyal to a fault behind my back, then smiled like I'd never hear it. She froze, not like she'd seen a ghost, but like a choice she'd once applauded had come back to accuse her. I nodded, tried to walk past. She stopped me. "Wait, you just vanished. Everyone thought you went to rehab or something." Rehab. That's how far they'd gone to explain my silence. I nearly laughed. She lowered her voice. "Listen, she's a wreck. Marina." I didn't think she'd actually break. I told her she was being reckless, but she didn't listen. My throat tightened. Reckless how? Cambria hesitated. That look people give when they've said too much already. "She told you about Everett, right?" I stared. She fumbled, backtracking. "I mean, not Everett specifically. Just that she needed clarity." She was confused. She didn't cheat, exactly." "She told you she didn't cheat," I repeated flatly. Cambria's mouth opened, closed, then collapsed into silence. And in that moment, every voicemail, every apology, every carefully staged confession online dissolved. I wasn't paranoid. I wasn't insecure. I was right. She lied. Not once in panic, but deliberately, over and over. She made me doubt myself so she could cover her shame. She buried me in silence while building something with someone else. And still had the audacity to say, "You didn't give me a chance to be sorry." The betrayal wasn't the sharpest cut. It was that even her guilt had been rehearsed, cropped, softened at the edges. Cambria, realizing what she'd let slip, whispered, "I didn't mean to tell you." But it didn't feel like a mistake. It felt like a key in my hand, and I had to choose. Lock the past away for good, or open the door to the truth she never wanted me to see. I caved. I typed and erased messages for an hour. Finally sent one line. "You lied to me about Everett." "I know." I threw the phone aside like it burned. I didn't expect closure, not even a reply. But within 30 minutes, my screen flared, 3 missed calls, 5 texts, 1 voice memo. I avoided it. Cooked dinner. Swept the floor. Wiped down the already spotless counters. Anything to delay what I already knew. Eventually, I pressed play. Her voice wasn't trembling or broken. It was sharp, defensive, like I was the one who'd reopened a wound she thought she'd buried. "You left. You gave up. And now you're digging through the past like it'll fix what you broke." What I broke. Yes, things blurred with Everett, but it wasn't physical. I just needed someone to talk to. "You were always retreating, never fighting. You never fought for us, Ellery. You folded every time." I stopped it there. I couldn't listen to more. She still didn't get it. Folding wasn't weakness. It was survival. I didn't shout because I was too busy holding us together. I didn't fight because I thought loving someone meant giving them space, even when they were using it to build a world without me. But the cruelest part wasn't the recording. It was her final message. You think disappearing makes you noble? All it proved was you never had a spine to begin with. And that's when it clicked. She never missed me. She missed control. She missed the comfort of knowing I'd always be there, absorbing the blows in silence. To her, I wasn't a person. I was a function. A routine. A safety net. I stared at that message until my eyes blurred, then blocked her for the last time. Not for revenge, but mercy, for myself. Because her regret was never about losing me. It was about losing the version of me who let her get away with everything. I never responded again. Never unblocked her. Never listened to the second half of the voice memo. I didn't need to. I knew it was just another twist of guilt, another attempt to reel me back into her curated remorse. Instead, I stepped outside. Funny how ordinary sunlight feels foreign when you've lived in shadows for so long. I walked without headphones, without my phone, just breathing air that didn't taste like her. That's when I stumbled across a small bookstore. The kind I would have ignored before, always rushing, always retreating. But this time, I went in. I met someone there. Not a fairy tale. Not love at first glance. Just a quiet hello, a shared smile over a crooked poetry display, a conversation about how some books feel like they know you better than your friends. Her name was June. She didn't ask where I'd been. She didn't try to fix me. She just laughed with her whole face. And for the first time in years, I laughed back. I don't know where it's going. But I know what's behind me. And I'm not walking backward. Healing doesn't arrive with apologies, or closure, or permission. Sometimes it starts with turning your back on the past, even when it screams your name. I was a ghost for years in my own home. Now I'm alive. I choose. I exist outside of her story. And for me, that's enough.